terms of personnel. I was wondering if you could elaborate on that. Has the absence of a director of football made things more complicated? Is that what you meant?
Well, yeah, we don't have a... Yeah, so, yeah, it's not usual. It's unusual. If you look at how the way the clubs worked previously, that's always been in place. And most clubs, that's... So, yeah, so that means it's different, which I'd assume won't be the case moving forward.
Do you think it's kind of slowed things down, potentially, in terms of getting...
No, I just said it's unusual, it's different, you know, because when you're doing something and there's already a process in place, then you know how it's going to work, whereas this is a new manager and no sporting director, so it is. It's, I think for anyone would say it's unusual. You wouldn't call this, usually you'll have one or the other, you know, maybe a new coach or maybe a new sporting director, but there's processes there. Here you've got both, so you're going into a window where, you know, a lot of things that are usually embedded in this kind of period aren't there.
Are you expecting that situation to be resolved sort of fairly soon?
Yeah, I think there's no doubt it will, yeah. I mean, I think that's definitely the club's plan, but I thought, you know, I think it's fair to say that going into this window, there was no point rushing that kind of appointment, particularly with a new manager in it, and I think the kind of thinking behind it was that, you know, probably the best way to charter this unusual process is to just have, you know, less sort of involvements with new people as possible, and, you know, so far, like I said, the evidence, when you see the players who've bought in, I think we've navigated it pretty well.
Matt?
Are you able to tell us what's happened with Hugo Lloris?
No, not really. I mean, again, I haven't been involved at all in that process because it's really a decision for Hugo, the club, and, you know, whatever decision he makes for himself. So it's not like it's something that's kind of in my sphere of responsibility at the moment.
But if he's still with you, is he one of those who's going to be left out of the squad? He seems a little bit different to the others, for example, who you'd probably say will fight for their places. Or...
Yeah, I think I've already said I'm not going to have sort of three sort of first-team goalkeepers on my list. I think I said that 2 weeks ago, and particularly, you know, when we're talking about the homegrown quota, it doesn't make sense for us to have 2 foreign goalkeepers on the list. So, and that Hugo knows that, and I think I said that at least 2 weeks ago.
His decision? Is it his drive for a change in his career?
Again, I mean, Hugo can speak for himself. You can ask Hugo, but I think that was fairly evident from what I understand. But I haven't anything different being told to me.
Jack?
And you said as well, speaking to Alice, I think about how there's been a lot of change in terms of the squad this season. It's been busy, a lot of ins, a lot of outs, and it wasn't going to be like that in windows going forward. Has it been more than you anticipated, or do you think this was exactly what you needed to do?
I come in sort of, you know, in terms of my expectations of not sort of locking myself into any sort of certain course of action where I think you have to have change, because sometimes I've gone into clubs and thought, you know, not much needs to change, but ultimately, I think I said last week that change means change. You know, we needed to change personnel, we needed to change, the club decided to change direction in terms of, you know, the football we wanted to play. I decided that we needed new coaching staff, so there has to be change. The reality of it is this team finished 8th last year, so I think that's kind of gives you an indication of where the club was at and what it thought it needed, and I've taken that on board, and I haven't been blocked in any sort of way in making the changes that I wanted to, and that's what we'll continue to do. It has been a lot of change, and you know, whether it's probably not ideal in the short term, but the fact that we've handled that well and the playing group handled that well is a good sign, I think.
There's obviously been lots of moving parts. Do you enjoy this part of the job this time of the year, or would you rather just be focusing on coaching?
No, like I said, I love this part of the process because you know, this is, you know how challenging it is. It's really difficult. you know, there's going to be, like I said, many bumps on the road where everything that you do gets questioned and decisions get questioned and all these kind of things, and I love that. You know, I love that process. I mean, when things are going well, you obviously enjoy it, enjoy the success, but usually when you get to that point, you reflect back on the beginnings and you realise that none of it would have been possible if you didn't sort of stay strong and true to what you want to do right at the beginnings of things. And like I said, this has been, I don't know, this is probably the 5th or 6th rebuild in a row I've done. Every job I've gone into, and I've loved every minute of it. I enjoy it.
Dave?
And just sort of what you were talking to Dan about, just with the structures in terms of recruitment. Before your time at Paratici, obviously left the position. Can you just sort of explain a little bit, just for our readers as much as anyone else, who's kind of taken on those responsibilities and how it's all worked? Just a bit of detail there.
Mainly just, I mean, obviously I'm taking a fairly big lead in terms of I'm the one that's providing the information in terms of what we need, and then it, you know, goes to our scouting department, and you know, there's a whole group of people there who kind of put the information together and give me the kind of lists that I need to do. Some of it is just players who come on the market, and then again they're given to me to have a look at. Do I think they'll fit the profile? And then I'll give them the feedback, and then that gets passed on to the people who do the sort of negotiation side of it.
I was just going to say, just totally away from everything else, do you have a comeback date for Bentancur?
Yeah, not a defined one, but he's getting closer. I think if I had to make a call, probably around November time, we'll be looking to sort of reintegrate him back into it. So he's ticking all the boxes so far. He's really keen. I mean, he came to see me yesterday wanting to train, and within a minute I had one of the medical team running behind him to collar him and drag him out. So he's definitely keen, and it'll be great to get him back, because I mean, obviously, you know, his contribution when he first came to the club was outstanding. So in many respects, he'll be like another new signing for us, which is great. But we won't rush it. It's obviously a significant injury, so probably looking around that timescale.
Okay. Paul, we'll finish with you, please.
Doesn't not having a sporting director here give you a bit more freedom in a strange way? It's one less voice to potentially disagree with or overrule you. Aren't you freer to act at the moment? Do you think otherwise?
No, I've never felt encumbered with whoever I've worked. I usually get my way, so it doesn't really worry me. But, you know, I don't have total control, because obviously I have control of one side of it. Of, you know, this is the player I think fits a profile, but, you know, there's a whole range of other things that then come into it from a financial perspective, from all these other kind of things that I have zero control. So then obviously other people then take over then. So it's not like I just can go and do what I want. But look, it's one of the things I'm really strong on. I just wouldn't see the sense in bringing a player in that I didn't think fit. I don't care who was giving him to me or who was sort of putting him forward. Because I think ultimately, whatever happens, I'm going to take the responsibility. I would never say that, you know what, I didn't sign this player, he's not one of mine. I would never do that, because I think once a player comes in the club, he's mine. That's how I see it. So if I'm going to take that responsibility, then I want to say, you know, and I like working with a sporting director, because they do most of that sort of legwork that I just don't have the time for. And, you know, when you've got a good sporting director and you work together, you know, they see the game through your eyes, and they say, well, okay, Ange, this guy's going to be perfect for you, and you look at it and you go, brilliant. I don't even have to worry about it, I know. But I'm still going to have the say, because, like I said, when the question inevitably comes around a signing, I will never say that it wasn't mine. So if I'm going to take that stance, I want the final say in it.
Presumably, before you came, you told Spurs that you're used to getting your way.
No, I don't feel I need to. I think, well, I hope it is. I don't say it in an arrogant way. I'd like to think that gives people comfort that, like I said, I'm going to take responsibility for it. You know, I think that's my role. So it's not like I go around just telling people what to do. I want people to know, to be at ease, that whatever decisions we make, as a collective, I'll take responsibility for.
So Ange, you're obviously going to have a big say in who that sporting director will be then, right?
Well, not necessarily. What I will have a say about is that, you know, whoever that may be, is that they get to know me and understand me. That's. I'm not going to point the person. I'm certainly not going to get involved in that process. But, you know, again, the club, I think, have already sort of got a clear idea of the way I work and the way I think and the way I want my teams to play, and whoever that person is, it'll be, you know, him. It's my role then to get him to understand me and see the game through my eyes.
Okay.
Do you have any clarity on when Scott might start work?
Oh, mate, come on. I got enough on my plate, mate. That's not on my brief, mate. Sorry.
Thanks, guys. Thank you.
I apologise for that.
That's all right, mate. It's always a fun, mate.